She thought it would be just another flight, ordinary, uneventful. But as she stepped forward, her heart sank. The words came sharp and cold. "You can't sit here." Denied first class, not for her ticket, not for her behavior, simply for the color of her skin. In that instant, the hum of the airplane and the murmur of passengers disappeared. Everything she had known about fairness, respect, and dignity seemed to vanish in one cruel decision. But little did anyone know, this moment of humiliation would ignite a chain of events that no one, least of all the airline, could have predicted. It was a bright morning, and she was calm, her mind on the journey ahead. A retired businesswoman, she had spent decades building her career with integrity and perseverance, always believing in fairness and hard work. Today, she was traveling to attend a family celebration, something she looked forward to every year. She walked through the airport with quiet confidence, her suitcase rolling behind her, unaware of the storm about to hit. Her presence should have been ordinary, unremarkable. But in a world where prejudice still lurked in unexpected corners, ordinary moments could turn into something extraordinary. Every step toward the first-class cabin felt normal, until it wasn't. She approached the first-class section, her boarding pass in hand, expecting nothing more than a polite nod and a smile. Instead, the flight attendant's eyes narrowed. "You can't sit here," she said, voice sharp, eyes cold. Confused, she held up her ticket. "I paid for this seat," she replied calmly. The attendant's expression didn't soften. It hardened. Whispers rippled through nearby passengers. Her heart pounded, a mix of anger, shock, and disbelief. How could something so blatant happen in a place where rules were meant to be clear? She tried reasoning, appealing to logic and fairness, but it was useless. Every word she spoke seemed to bounce off an invisible wall of bias. The humiliation was immediate, sharp, and public. Around her, people avoided eye contact, some shifting uncomfortably in their seats, others staring, silently judging, powerless to intervene. She felt the sting of isolation, the heavy weight of injustice pressing down. But inside, something stirred. A quiet fire of determination, born from a lifetime of overcoming obstacles, began to burn. She would not be reduced to a victim. This wasn't just about a seat. It was about dignity, respect, and standing against the kind of prejudice that tried to define her worth. As the flight attendant stood firm, denying her entry, she stepped back and looked at the cabin with measured resolve. Passengers murmured, tension thick in the air. Every glance, every sideways whisper, seemed to echo the injustice in the moment. Yet, for the first time, she began plotting a response that would go far beyond this single encounter. The tables were about to turn, but how and when remained a secret she held close. Her mind raced with possibilities, every scenario more audacious than the last. The anger that had flared in her chest transformed into strategic thinking, a plan forming with clarity and precision. By the time the plane was ready for takeoff, the stage was set for a twist no one could have predicted, and for a moment of triumph that would not just be personal, but historic. The plane's engines roared, passengers settling in, unaware that the drama they had witnessed was only the beginning. She took a deep breath, her mind sharp, her resolve unshakable. What had started as humiliation was about to become a lesson in power, determination, and justice. Every step she took from that moment forward carried the weight of years spent facing inequality, discrimination, and doubt. With calculated precision, she executed a plan no one expected. Calls were made, meetings scheduled, and soon, the very Company that had tried to diminish her dignity found itself facing the consequences of its actions. Headlines began to ripple across social media, capturing the audacity of her move. Passengers who had looked away now watched in astonishment. The flight attendant who had so casually dismissed her was confronted not by anger, but by the reality of accountability. The world seemed to pause as news spread. The woman denied first class had done the unthinkable. She wasn't just seeking an apology, she was taking control in a way that no one could ignore. The humiliation that had once burned so sharply now transformed into a narrative of triumph, proving that injustice can be met with courage, ingenuity, and an unyielding sense of self-worth. It was a turning point, a dramatic reversal that left bystanders stunned. The moment crystallized a powerful truth: that the powerless are never truly powerless when they refuse to accept the limitations others try to impose. What had begun as a simple flight now became a testament to resilience, strategy, and the profound impact of standing up, not just for oneself, but for a larger principle. As the world watched, a single question hung in the air, echoing far beyond the cabin walls. What happens when the oppressed refuse to remain silent and choose to rewrite the rules entirely? The headlines spread like wildfire. The woman who had been publicly humiliated on that flight had now become a symbol of resilience and determination. She had not only reclaimed her dignity, but had reshaped the very system that had tried to diminish her. The airline, once a symbol of exclusion in that moment, now bore witness to her triumph, and the world took notice. Her victory was more than personal. It was a reminder that prejudice can be confronted, challenged, and overturned. Every call, every strategic move she made sent a clear message. Injustice, no matter how deeply entrenched, can be met with courage and ingenuity. For those who had doubted her, and for those who had experienced similar discrimination, her story became a beacon of hope, a testament to the power of standing up when it matters most. And yet, the story didn't end there. Beyond the headlines and the applause, it sparked conversations about equality, respect, and accountability. Families, communities, and even strangers saw the possibility that change was achievable, that the balance of power could shift in favor of fairness. She had turned humiliation into empowerment, anger into action, and prejudice into a lesson the world couldn't ignore. The plane ride that had begun with exclusion had ended with a transformation far greater than anyone aboard could have imagined. She had taken control, not with violence or vengeance, but with vision, strategy, and unshakable confidence. The question lingers: how many more injustices go unchallenged simply because people believe they have no power? Her story is a reminder that the moment we refuse to accept what is wrong, we can change not just our own lives, but the world around us. If this story left you thinking, share your thoughts in the comments. How would you respond if you were in her shoes? Stories like this remind us that standing up against injustice isn't just brave, it's powerful. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss stories that inspire, shock, and make us question the world around us. And remember, change often starts with one person refusing to stay silent. What would you do if it were you?